The Dex Legacy, an audio drama by Emily Inkpen.
Almost 1,500 years ago, our ancestors landed on this planet with technology we have never managed to replicate.
We were sent here in giant seed ships, with more data than any one person could ever get through in a lifetime. 10,000 people and some animals were left with all this knowledge, except the plans for interstellar travel. So, they didn't want us going back. Why?
I expect this planet had more tricks up its sleeve than they anticipated. We've been dragging ourselves forward until now, Tristan. This invention of Osa's, it surpasses everything they knew.
I was told to create the most scientifically advanced weapon the world has ever seen. I did not sell it, and I did not detonate it. When Varian, Isra, and Ren go into battle and kill a multitude, do you feel responsible?
That's different.
And how is that?
It is not Devitt's responsibility.
So the spawn was not mine?
Didn't you hear what I just said? The rebels are coming, Ren. Get ready.
Lost Isra. She's been taken captive. I don't have much time. The electrical currents disabled her chip, but we cannot track her.
You mean to ask me if she's already dead? I don't know.
We can end their lives at a push of a button, no matter where in the world they are, and they know it. A person should not have to live with that threat.
Seconds count here, Varian.
I know, but losing you as well would make this a very bad day.
Have
Have you thought about what they might be doing to her?
I'm trying not to. Don't be stupid here, Ren. Wait.
We may have a serious problem.
You think that if Isra escapes the rebels and chooses to run from us, we won't be able to find her?
That is exactly what I'm thinking.
Find her, Ren.
I will.
So you really think countries will choose to hire Dex military in times of need rather than maintain their own military power constantly? And you believe you can keep Dex Island neutral?
Yes.
How?
Because they will fear us. If all goes well, after today, they will all fear us.
Three days after their return to Dex Island, Varian, Isra, and Ren have settled back into the well-worn routine of home. Morning lessons, followed by afternoons and evenings on the training quad. Already they are beginning to assert authority over the troops as commanders of the Dex military. Varian, Isra, and Ren may be returning to normalcy, but there is one person in the palace who considers normalcy to be an illusion, behind which there are cracks to exploit, levers to insert, and pressure to be applied. You're listening to The Ancestors, the third Dex Legacy interlude, starring Tiffany Clare as Valentina Vardy, Chris Gregory as Nathaniel Dex, Kamara Elliott as Varian Dex, Kelsey Griffin as Isra Dex, Charlie Richards as Ren Dex, and Emily Inkpen as Auto, with music by Dr. Alan Stroud.
What is it? I'm busy.
President Dex, Tristan instructed me to give you this.
What is it?
It's a recording, sir.
A recording of what?
I've not heard it, sir.
I've never been a fan of his cryptic side. He's due back tomorrow. Why couldn't he give this to me then?
I don't know, sir. He didn't say.
Of course he didn't.
Would you like me to leave, sir?
Why?
If it's private.
You're an agent. It doesn't matter what you hear, because if you repeat anything, Tristan will shoot you through the head. I've seen him do it.
As have I, sir.
Or worse. And you know all about that as well, don't you?
Yes, sir.
And you don't want that, do you?
No, sir.
Stay. If I have a response, I don't want to waste time calling you back in here.
Yes, sir.
Recording decrypted.
Auto. Play recording.
Ren, what are you reading?
History. Ancestor stuff.
It happened thousands of years ago on a planet we'll never go to. Why do you care?
Because it's interesting, Varian.
Explain.
Auto. Pause.
Playback paused.
What is this?
Surveillance, sir.
He's recorded Varian, Isra and Ren. I thought I told him... Auto. Resume.
Okay. We were sent here in giant seed chips, with more data than any one person could ever get through in a lifetime. 10,000 people and some animals were left with all this knowledge, except the plans for interstellar travel. So, they didn't want us going back. Why? Why send us here? Did they want us to do things differently? Because from what I've read, we're doing everything more or less the same way here as they did there. It's all war and territory and money. Maybe if we'd not had the seed data, we wouldn't know all that, and we'd have built society differently. So that just raises more questions. Did they want us to live the same way, or learn from the data and be wiser than them?
Maybe they didn't think about it that much, Ren. Maybe they just thought the seed data would be useful.
But they didn't want us to go back?
If they'd given us the knowledge, it's the first thing we would have done, right? We'd have wanted to send people back, but they wanted us to establish ourselves here on SP-714. So they made sure we wouldn't be able to do it.
It's mean. The ship reached orbit, jettisoned all the seed vessels and self-destructed. There was no way for us to replicate the technology.
So you're saying the ancestors were mean?
Well, from what I've read, it wouldn't be out of character.
What I don't understand is why it took us so long to get our tech together. We knew so much about it when we first arrived. So how come we were just surviving for years?
We had the know-how, but none of the materials. We had the seed vessels, but the metal and parts in those didn't stretch far. Until we found raw metal and built mines, we couldn't replicate anything. It took years to explore far enough to discover them. The seed vessels wouldn't fly again once they'd landed, another parting gift from the ancestors, so we had to build boats. But there weren't many forests around Hearth, so the settlers had to wait for the stored seeds to take hold before they had wood enough to build. Then they made it to Vosnor and Vasnek and stuff picked up. Lots of metal there. Of course, if they'd landed in Chakri, they'd have progressed much faster and been able to line their ships with gold. That was bad luck.
Did they have gold on the ancestor planet?
Yes, but they didn't have Platon or Caprin or Rodon or Gossin.
Weird. Everything here is Platon or Caprin.
Yep.
Is anything here better?
Yeah. Gossin.
Shame there isn't much of it.
Gossin comes from space debris. We pass through a small asteroid belt once a year, and that's where it comes from. About 500,000 years ago, there was a lot more of it, and enough fell to form a thin layer in most parts of the world. We get all the Gossin we can from those deposits. Most of what's left will be in the ocean and on our moons.
Also, pause.
Playback paused.
Auto, make a note. Discuss oceanic Gossin extraction with OSA.
Note saved. Discuss oceanic Gossin extraction with OSA.
Resume.
On our moons.
Well, we can't get them from the ocean.
We could, but it would be difficult. Just like we don't know how to get to our moons yet. Isra? Varian? Do you remember anything from our lessons?
More than you might think.
Surprise me.
There was one bit that always interested me. The settlers went into the ocean around Hearth and tried harvesting the Goa colonies. Why would they do that?
Because on our ancestral planet, all plant-based life was considered food. It didn't even occur to them that the Goa could be sentient.
Strange. There's whole areas of ocean we can't touch because it's Goa territory.
Yes, and that's a good thing. Once we learned how to communicate with them, we learned a lot about the history of this planet and the ocean ecosystems.
Like what? Why is it I learn more when I'm just talking about this stuff than when I have to sit in that room and just pretend like I'm listening?
Because nothing sticks unless you're choosing to learn it. Stop pretending to listen and it might sink in.
Okay, so what about the ecosystems?
All right, but I'll be doing a quiz on this tomorrow, so pay attention. The evolutionary progress of this planet are at an earlier stage than they were, or are, on our ancestral planet. But the pattern seems to be the same. Life starts in the oceans, then moves on land. Then life evolves and diversifies until you've got a whole load of different species. On our ancestral planet, there were a lot of different types of animals that had already been through a couple of large-scale extinctions. On SP-714, evolution was at the amphibian, bug, and reptile phase, with much more happening underwater.
What's an extinction?
An event where a natural or unnatural shift in climate or something causes entire species to die out. I mean, that's a single extinction. A mass extinction is where that shift causes lots of species to die.
Have we had one of those on SP-714?
Not until we arrived, and almost caused one by attacking the Goa colonies. When early communications with the Goa were being translated, settlers started digging to find evidence of a mass extinction, but they couldn't find any.
Auto pause.
Playback paused.
What's an extinction?
Extinctions are ancestral history, sir.
Yes.
In Chakri, nobody learned ancestral history, sir. Most people learnt settler history onwards.
Really? Well, Varian, Isra and Ren aren't most people. Auto resume.
But by landing here, we messed it up, didn't we? We interrupted evolution.
Yes, we did. Big time.
And the Goa weren't happy.
No. But they haven't evolved to live above water yet, and their physiology makes it impossible for them to fight us. They realized that pretty quickly and settled on claiming distinct territories. Territories we'd probably have moved into if they weren't so good at defending themselves.
Which is how exactly?
Oh, I know this. They can change the chemical composition of the water around them until it's almost pure acid, and it's the same acid found on aquatic eggs. So all sea creatures are drawn to it and go mad defending it.
Correct. Plus, a few more tricks.
See, I know things.
Fortunately, there's enough planet to keep us busy for now. But if our dear ancestors are anything to go by, one day there won't be, and the Goa colonies will be hit hard.
I also know they like the equator, warm waters. That's why Thos is almost completely surrounded by Goa territory.
And why they were so angry about the Rome bomb. Half of the Rome coastline was a Goa stronghold, and it was completely wiped out by that missile. There were heavy losses above and below water that day. Apparently, the Goa know Nathaniel's name, and they are not a fan of his work.
But Ren, it wasn't Nathaniel who launched it.
No, Varian, but Dex Island did build it. And there's a lot of people who think he knew how destructive it would be and chose not to tell Xenos before they launched it.
And the Goa are among them.
It would appear so.
I doubt Nathaniel cares much about that.
Nope. I don't think he cares either, but he should.
Why?
Because, Varian, this is their planet. And one day they might decide to take it back.
How would they do that?
They're a sentient species of aquatic plants that can change the chemical composition of water at will. You think they won't work out how to weaponize that? Or find some other way to do us harm? No. One day the Goans will comfort us. They'll do it in a way we won't expect, and we won't stand a chance.
End of recording.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
And I'm supposed to be interested in this?
Tristan suggested you hear it, sir. He seems to think there's cause for concern.
Oh, there's cause for concern. Where did Tristan place recording devices?
I believe this was a test, sir. The device is positioned in their private rec room.
Their room here in the palace?
Yes, sir.
Listen to me very closely. You will go up to those rooms immediately and remove every recording device you know about, and conduct a thorough search to ensure none are left behind.
Sir?
This is a presidential order. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, sir, of course.
Then why are you still here?
May I ask why, sir?
What's your name?
It's Valentina, sir. Valentina Vardy.
Well, Valentina Vardy, I've known your boss for a long time. He doesn't exist in the black and white zones, only the shades of grey. But my privacy is not a grey area. If he starts planting surveillance anywhere in this palace, it's only a matter of time before he's planting devices in my rooms as well. And I won't have it.
Yes, sir.
When did he place this?
He instructed me to place it yesterday afternoon, sir.
Good. Stop this before it starts.
If he commands me to place another, I will have to do it, sir.
That won't be an issue. I'll talk to him.
Yes, sir. May I ask, aren't you interested in what they were saying?
Do you see that door?
Yes, sir.
That's the point at which I stop caring.
You don't care what people do or say?
Why would I? As long as they do what I say.
What if they were doing or saying things that could harm you?
Well, that's what you're for, isn't it? I have a house, a country, and a world full of spies, and Tristan tells me what's worth knowing.
And what Varian, Isra and Ren say isn't worth knowing.
Why would it be? I own them. They're the property of Dex Industries. They have no rights, no freedom. I don't care what they talk about because nothing they say can cause me harm. If one of them malfunctions, I will end them, which I can do at the push of a button thanks to Devek and Osa and their tracking chips. Valentina, why are you still here?
Sir, are you not worried about the Goa?
Am I worried about a species of semi-sentient aquatic plant life the settlers almost massacred by accident? Certainly not.
Very good, sir.
Of course, if they do start hurling acid at me, I can be assured of your protection.
Yes, sir. I live to serve.
Good. Now go. Make sure my children don't see you. I don't want them to be under any illusion that I care or give credit to anything they think and say.
Yes, sir.
You just heard The Ancestors, Interlude 3 of The Dex Legacy. In that episode, you heard Tiffany Clare as Valentina Vardy, Chris Gregory as Nathaniel Dex, Kamara Elliott as Varian Dex, Kelsey Griffin as Isra Dex, Charlie Richards as Ren Dex, and me, Emily Inkpen, as Auto, with music by Dr. Alan Stroud. The Dex Legacy is written by me, Emily Inkpen, and produced by Alternative Stories. If you enjoyed that interlude, please like, subscribe, and comment. It really does help. If you would like to support the Dex Legacy, you can at ko-fi.com/The Dex Legacy Audio Drama. Links can be found at www.thedexlegacy.com. At thedexlegacy.com, you will also find scripts for every episode and interlude, so if you like to read while you listen, you can. There's also a page dedicated to the cast and a whole load of bonus materials, including maps, a gallery of character portraits, and interviews. You can also sign up to the Dex Legacy newsletter for a secret link to me reading The Dark, a short story and prequel to the audio drama. As always, we would like to give a huge thank you and shout out to those of you who have liked our episodes, left comments and reviews, and subscribed to the show. All of this boosts our visibility on podcast platforms. We'd also like to thank those of you who have visited our Ko-fi page and donated to the series so far. Every donation goes straight into bringing you more from the world of Dex. So thank you.
Galnet News Digest, 23rd of June 3308. We read the news, so you don't have to. In this week's news, Salvation reveals all, and the superpowers have a surprisingly muted response. Salvation has finally spoken, and he's not just admitted, but claimed with some pride that he is Caleb Wycherley, the Witch, and that he's been responsible for the course of much of the interaction between humans and Thargoids over the past 200 years. The admission follows widespread speculation about a link between Salvation and the defunct corporation, and the rebranding over the weekend of Taurus Mining Ventures as Azimuth Biotech, which Salvation explains is a demonstration that there's no longer any need to conceal their true identity, given their excellent work clearing Thargoids out of a number of systems in recent months. Azimuth Biochemicals first discovered Thargoids nearly 200 years ago, after the megaship Adamastor was sent to a site in the Kolzak Nebula, close to the present-day Beatoncourt base. According to Salvation, ever since then the research division of Azimuth Biochemicals has been preparing for what he described as the inevitable interspecies conflict. It appears to have been Salvation and Azimuth who decided that the Thargoids should be treated as enemies. Azimuth was taken over and shut down by rival corporation Pharmasapien, but Salvation explains that he managed to conceal the assets of Azimuth's research division, and to continue researching the Thargoids in complete freedom from any form of accountability. Salvation admits that he and Azimuth worked with INRA on the mycoid virus that wiped out a Thargoid hive ship and sent the Thargoids into retreat. But he claims that the rediscovery of the Proteus and the prototype Guardian hybrid weapon provided the breakthrough that will, he says, soon result in a weapon that will permanently cripple the Thargoid war machine. Salvation went on to say that he no longer identifies with the name Caleb Wycherley, preferring instead to be known as the saviour of humanity, but that he stands by everything he did when he was Wycherley, including all the killing.
The superpowers are prepared to twist reality in order to remain under Salvation's protection, according to statements released today. On Monday, Salvation revealed that his organisation, Taurus Mining Ventures, is formed largely of the research division of Azimuth Biochemicals, an organisation implicated in a number of morally dubious activities, such as the development of the mycoid virus, as well as some that are clearly reprehensible, such as the destruction, with the loss of all hands, of the megaship Alexandria, and Project Seraph, which experimented on live human captives in an attempt to integrate them with Thargoid technology. There is strong circumstantial evidence that Salvation is the former Vice President of Research, Dr. Caleb Wycherley, and that he is heavily implicated in Azimuth's wrongdoing, including planting Guardian technology in the Quonsar system to lure the Thargoids to attack, an action that resulted in tens of thousands of innocent lives being lost in that system. 200 years ago, researchers from Azimuth developed a weapon that uses Guardian technology to deliver a tuned electromagnetic pulse that Salvation, also known as the Witch, is now using to drive Thargoids out of a number of systems, and that he is further developing to deliver a devastating blow that he says will end the Thargoid war. Following Salvation's announcement, Taurus Mining Ventures has been renamed as Azimuth Biotech to flaunt the organisation's heritage. But even with their noses being rubbed in the inconvenient truth that they have hitched their wagon to a criminal organisation, the superpowers insist that they will continue to work with Salvation to defeat the Thargoids. Federal Admiral Maxton Price tried to throw doubt on whether Salvation really is the Witch, suggesting that the evidence recently discovered in DG Carnum Vanaticorum might be fabricated by Aegis. And he proclaimed that he is 100% behind Azimuth and its superweapon. Without Salvation's superweapon, he claimed, the Thargoid war would never end, and that the Alliance, Federation and Empire must put to one side considerations of ethics, legality and morality until after the war has been won. Professor Albert Tesreau, formerly head of research at Aegis, has joined many opposition leaders in all three superpowers in calling for everyone in Azimuth Biotech to be arrested and for justice for the slaughtered crew of the Alexandria. There have been no incursions by Thargoids since April, when one Alliance, one Imperial and one Federal system, Didio, Novas and Sosong, were rather conveniently attacked, keeping superpower minds focused on the Thargoid threat.
News. Hello and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
A show that talks about the universe of Elite
And the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous.
And the fantastic
community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from a current Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads.
A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Right, greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 396 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix Defire, Chief Archivist of Lave Station, and joining me in the Orange Sidewinder Bar for this week, we have, of course, our Inhuman Resources Director, Commander Shan.
Hello.
We have our Staff Liaison Officer, Commander Psychit.
Hello.
And due to the fact that our Head of Health and Safety, Commander Idlevice, is off dealing with a COVID-stricken family, the East India Ambassador Mac Winston has turned up and volunteered as a replacement.
Hello.
Hello. So, welcome to all three of you. If you wish, you can join us live. We are hanging out in game. I am at the moment trying to get to Lave Station, and I will be at the bar or at Lave Station, hopefully, eventually. I know Commander Ventura's about somewhere, but we don't know where he is just yet. If you can't get to us in game, you could also join us in the Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. Then you click on the live chat, or go straight to Twitch TV/Lave Radio, or you'll find us on YouTube, Lave Radio, or Twitter and Facebook. So we're all socially. I can't think of the proper term for it, but never mind. Shan, you've got a question about poor Ben at the moment.
Yes, if Ben is the health and safety officer, does that mean we can mop the floors and not put little signs out on the floors and like have one person on the ladder without anyone holding it, or hide the fire extinguishers and stuff like that? Because we haven't got a health and safety officer to make sure Lave Station does not burn down.
Well, at the moment, is Lave Station covered in trash?
Probably everywhere is.
It usually is. Whenever I visited, it's always had trash on the floor.
Yes, but we haven't got a litter. We haven't got a station one ball, have we? That's why.
Yeah, I mean, ever since our second tech left, basically everything's not working, especially the chicken soup machines. So, moving quickly on from there, well, let's have a quick talk to the team, see what they've been up to this week. And we'll start with Commander Psychit, if you're okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a couple of days off. We have a house guest at the moment who is a friend of my other half. So we've been just like chilling out, playing like some silly board games and stuff. I got back a couple of hours ago. We got back from Cardiff, where we did an escape room, which, you know, I have a bit of an affinity for them, so it was a lot of fun. But we've been enjoying this glorious weather, she says.
What, the
It was
glorious
lovely
weather?
before they got here. It was absolutely lovely. The whole week on the run up before they got here was fine, and then since Friday when they've been here, it's been absolutely pissing it down, which has just been flipping fantastic.
Well, they jinxed it then, haven't they?
Yeah, I know, right?
Ah, dear. Commander Shan, how have you been?
Well, I haven't had any chance or even motivation to play many games since last week because it's been just heads down, sorting everything out and dealing with stuff like that. In a bit brighter news, the 3 kittens plus Hobbs are now getting on famously now. Although feeding time is just crazy now. 2 kittens and a bigger cat all marrying and jumping at the same time. Completely crazy. And we went to see cat number 4 at the weekend. That's the first time I've seen cat number 4. So that's going to be even crazier. And a quick question for people. Has anyone been in one of those sensory deprivation tanks before?
I've been in an anechoic chamber.
Because I'm considering sort of booking a session for Mrs. Sharon and I just to kind of like chill out. But I mean, I hear they're completely relaxing, but I'm not sure. Don't you get bored just laying around for an hour with nothing, not reading anything?
My understanding is that you can sort of like get lost in your own thoughts and spend some time just like clearing your head. And it's that kind of just a peacefulness, which is quite nice. You've never like just gone somewhere and sat just like somewhere in the countryside or like in a park somewhere and just had a moment just listening to nature or anything like that. I know you don't get any other sounds, but I think that's part of the draw for some people. I don't think it's for everyone.
Well, I have for about 5 minutes, and then I get bored and go and do something else. So I would just think I'd just sit there in the warm, salty water, feeling the warm, salty water, and having earplugs and thinking, now what do I do?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe you solved world peace or something during that time, and that's
do I sound like a person who has solved world peace?
Legitimately, no. As soon as the words left my mouth, I was like, "No, that's not Shan at all."
I listened to my tinnitus.
Yeah, there is that.
I don't know whether, because people say, when you see visions and all sorts of weird, trippy stuff, which it does sound fun in a way, because I've never ever experienced anything like that at all. But I don't know. I don't really want to go and pay the money for an hour and sit there and get bored within 5 minutes, because my idea of holiday hell is a beach holiday, sitting on a beach all day, doing nothing but sitting on the beach.
Well, yeah. If you're not really a meditative type like myself, I found that when I did that kind of thing, you do go into your head a bit, and I discovered going into my head is not a very nice place to be. So
doesn't work for everyone.
No, it doesn't work for everyone.
Not for everyone.
If you were able to put yourself into a nice meditative trance, or you have got something to listen to, like sort of an audiobook or something, I'd probably quite enjoy it. But
also, what if you wee in it, like the swimming pool?
I mean, you're not really you get out of the swimming pool. It's an hour. Just pinch the end for an hour.
Oh, okay.
Or go before you go in the beginning, or go before you get in. Holy crap, man! Just hold it for an hour.
I see we're hitting the usual Lave Radio heights of taste and decency here.
You know the reaction product of wee in a chlorinated swimming pool is actually explosive.
Oh, just imagine the death certificate.
And I wonder if they put dye in it, because in some swimming pools they put dye in it, don't they? So if people do go, it leaves a little purple trail, doesn't it, where they're gone? So I wonder if they put dye in it, so they would know and charge you extra for cleaning. I don't know.
Well, I think that's a story told just to stop people from peeing in pools.
Oh, they certainly do that in Germany. I know that that people have been caught. I know of people who have been caught doing that, and then Basically, the swimming pool turns dark blue around them, and they get told to leave.
And Psyche, I'm not sure your suggestion of pinching the end works, because if you pinch the end of a hose pipe, bad things happen.
Okay, well, you lay in your piss for an hour.
Oh, and again, up to the usual Lave Radio standards.
This is why it's good Ben's away, because can you imagine what Ben would be thinking of right now?
I hate to think what Ben would be thinking right now, and I don't know why I'm still wanted. I don't have an anonymous access here because I just got done for trespassing, which is weird.
Anyway, I'll see what Mr. Shan says, and if I go in one, I will report back. not whether or not I made the clear water yellow or anything, but the experience.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. I'm sure everybody's going to look forward to hearing about that one. Mac, how have you been?
Oh, pretty good, really. Yeah, it's as Psychic just said, the weather's been cack here as well. It's been blowing a hoolie. It's been absolutely belting down with rain all day long. So it's been kind of an indoor day, really. But yeah, I did the most recent buckyball race. The why is Ventura creeping after me on his knees? Anyway, I did the most recent buckyball race just yesterday. I just got in under the wire, literally.
I think I know why.
I completely forgot about it. I meant to do it. I was planning to do it on the weekend. I even sent my fleet carrier to hit whatever it was to start the whole thing off.
Yeah.
And then Monday rolls around. I thought, oh crap! You know what I haven't done is the buckyball race. So anyway, Monday night. In fact, I didn't even remember it until I played a few games of StarCraft. So it was like already 10 o'clock. So off I went. I quickly got the route down, sort of planned out my route around all the shenanigans and stuff. Did the first one thinking, this is going to be quite a good time. I'm probably going to get the raw unadjusted time is probably going to be under an hour. And then I realised I'd missed a waypoint. So I had to do it all over again. But I know it was 11 o'clock. It was almost 11 o'clock now, I think, about 10:30 or so. I can't remember what time it was exactly. But it was getting late, and the closing time was midnight UTC. So anyway, I went out again. I was within 2 jumps of the Seven Sisters.
Yep.
And I got hyperdicted. And I discovered, Ventura's just clapped at me. I then discovered that if you boop a Thargoid,
yes,
it blows you up. Anyway,
yes.
So I got blown up and sent back to our home city, whatever it's called.
Did you make the noise?
Then I did it a third time, but my third run was really quite good. I got really high, the barbecue thing where you have to overheat your ship. I got to about 220% and didn't blow up.
Oh, nice one.
So I got quite a good bonus from that. I did every single shenanigan. I managed to get them all. The only thing is I didn't quite this time. I didn't get within the annoying thing is my first run I actually booped a Thargoid and didn't get shot. So I did better than the 100 meters you're supposed to get. This time I didn't quite get within 100 meters of it. So I missed out on 100 bonus there. But I got lots and lots of bonus points. I figured out how to enter a station, shields off, while boosting and not blow up, which is quite good because I could do that kind of challenge at the end where you fly into the home city or whatever it's called, boosting with no shields and try not to blow up in the back of the station. The trick I used, and works in the regulation carburetor, is you boost just before you go in the slot. You boost, FA off, flip the ship, and then boost again, and hope you've boosted before you hit the back of the station. And yeah, my own calculations. This time I'm not in the. It looks like I'm in the the S club, not in the 1 point club this time, which is amazing. So I'm very suspicious that I've done something wrong because for me to get a decent time in a buckyball race, there has to be something wrong. So I'm just waiting for the organizer to say, you didn't do this right. You've lost a bunch of time there, or something like that. So anyway, we'll see. I've got my fingers crossed. And of course,
are there 7 people in the S Club?
No, it's not S Club 7.
No.
I could actually, if I alt-tabbed my browser, which is where there are 1, 2, 3. Actually, there are 7 in the S zone.
Yeah, because it's 4 till 9. So
Yeah, there are 7. It's S Club 7. Yeah, so the NS zone, which is the top 3, which I'm never going to get on. I mean, 42 minutes, 58 seconds is the third position to do that course. I don't know how. I just don't know how. Anyway, because mine was about. Well, I think if I didn't do any of the shenanigans, I might have been able to do it, say, in 58 minutes. But yeah. With a bit of luck, I'm in that S zone. But we'll see. I've probably cocked up because I can't imagine I've done that well in a buckyball racing event. So I imagine the judge who organised it, Ryko, is probably going to contact me in the next couple of days and said, I'm going to have to take these points off you because you didn't do this, that, and the other right, or something like that. I just know it. So
He sounds like a traffic warden. You parked over the line. Here's your 60 quid fine.
No, it's. I mean, let's just say that this one, I think the Seven Sisters event was the most complicated buckyball I have ever been through, because you got bonuses and extra bonuses for doing all these little tasks all the way through, and I actually really enjoyed that because it made it feel like a bit more than just a race. I mean, I came 16th in that one yet again. I only did the regulation Cobra class, and yet again, sort of last but one. I feel like the Mick Schumacher of buckyball at the moment. But Mac, did you do yours in a? I'm looking at the list. Where did you say you came?
I haven't been officially placed yet. I did it in the regulation Cobra, which is I've got docked at Lave Station now. I just arrived in it. But yeah, as I said, I got all the shenanigans done, and there's 9 of them, and some of them, like the carrying 8 tons of cargo. So long as you can carry 8 tons of cargo, through 13 or 14 jumps, that's another 800 seconds. So some of them were quite easy, and others were a bit more risky, like boosting through tunnels and boosting into stations with your shields off, and Nux coup de grace is and so you get 1 second per meter of a second velocity. So I went through, I think I had 417 I went through, so I got a 417 second bonus just for that, which is pretty good.
Yeah, we'll be going through all the results for that, I think, later in the show. But I had a bit of a grump about this particular one. Psychic, did you have a bash in it?
No, I didn't, because something else happened this week, and it turned into a bit of its own sort of like visceral monster. And anytime that I was like planning on playing Elite or doing anything with Elite, I ended up over in the Pleiades, which is ironic because that's where the heckin' race was. So I should have been able to do it, but I was always like either notorious or I had fines, can't think why. But I'd been doing a lot of mission running, and then it got to Friday, and I was fully intending on doing it on Friday, and then I was like, oh, that's the end of my stream on Friday, and I still haven't done anything. And obviously, because we've had our friend down, I've not really been able to hop on that much, just sort of like willy-nilly to be able to have a go. So I did apologise to Raikou, but he's also in the Witcher Discord, so he's seen how busy it is. So it's fine, I feel justified.
I mean, we'll go over how I felt about it, I think, when we touch on it later. Right, let's see. Oh, well, obviously, I've got my power play commander to sort out. I haven't done anything on my exploration commander, and my main commander has been running buckyballs. As those over the streams on Saturday and Sunday will attest to. So I made 4 buckyball attempts, 2 successful. 1 was ended by a guide because I booped him and he didn't like that. And Regulation Cobra versus Basilisk. Guess which one wins? And the other one, I couldn't believe this. I got an interruption halfway through the run with real life getting in the way. So that was a bit of a heartbreaker because I was on a really good run. But I was there thinking, oh, I'm gonna get a decent time on this one, and obviously, kind of not. Anyway, well, moving on from there, we've had a discovery scanner posted on Monday by Zach. Now, most of the time, the discovery scanners, the news, is no longer posted on the forum. You get a link on the forum to a web page under the news section on the Elite Dangerous website. So this came out on Monday. First of all, there is a fleet carrier upkeep fix rather. Now this is a server-side fix, but it won't take place until the next maintenance tick, which will be at normal time this week, so that'll be Thursday. At that point, all the accrued upkeep costs that you see up to that point, as a result of this issue, will be deducted from your balance. So again, this only affects you if you have a fleet carrier. It looks like there was a cascading error, which meant that you were paying more and more each week. Which, if you know the fable about the piece of rice doubling on each chest square, you'll know that will soon add up.
Did they say that we were getting refunded?
It says from which point all the accrued upkeep costs they're going to be deducted from your balance. So I'm assuming that means that it's going to level out at some point.
I'm sure I've heard from people. I don't know. I don't pay enough attention to my fleet carrier balance to be able to tell you whether or not the money has been cumulatively going out. But I'm sure I've seen people have said to me the money has been going out of their balance, which to me, I think at the moment it's due, it's showing like 990 something, and I've got like 106 million currently sat on my fleet carrier. So if it does take that, that's going to leave me pretty shy in cash. And if the money's been coming out sort of like on the regular and increasing exponentially, then I want a refund. I don't want any more money coming out.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens on the tick this Thursday. But they're saying they've found the problem, that it's fixed. It's a server-side fix,
Sorry, if you find yourself short, the Bank of Shan can help you out.
Never an opportunity, mate. I'm sorry. I'm never going to owe you anything back.
But
that feels like selling your soul to, like, what's more evil than the devil itself? Let me think.
Oh, being nice. People accuse me, Shan, you never do anything nice, and here am I offering to help, so I get out.
Yeah, but it's gonna have a proviso, mate. There's gonna be oh yeah, I'll give you the money now, but it's like that the episode of The Office where Dwight's going around handing around pretzels, and every time he hands a pretzel, he's like, "You owe me." It's that kind of shit, and I'm not down for it.
You think I enter some kind of Faustian pact with you?
No, I think you're like the living embodiment of Dwight Schrute right now.
Oh, cheers. No, I mean, there's a couple of people in chat says they don't think you actually took any money out, which is why it kept going up. So if that's the case, then I hope it deducts the right amount. And if
I'm sorry, Paul Archer in the chat just said, Bank of Shan equals Wonga of space.
You accusing me of a payday loan, Shark?
He's space
Wonga.
Absolutely we
are. Or is it like the bank with the baby eating Bishop of Bath and Wells from Blackadder?
There you go.
So you get a red hot poker at your bottom if you fail to repay.
I've been You really put people off being nice. There was me hearing poor psychic.
With the best will in the world,
grip.
Shan. With the best will in the world, you have previous.
No, you don't. Honestly, you lot are so cruel to me and mean.
I think we'll have to change your job title to Space Wonga from now on.
Now that sounds rude, doesn't it?
Absolutely, actively doing it right now. Show notes.
Oh dear, right.
No. In all seriousness, if they haven't taken the money out then, or the credits out then, I hope the server fix deducts the correct amount. If they have been taking it out and it's gone up, I hope they refund it, because it seems a bit mean to not make it good.
Yeah, it needs to be. Yeah, we need to balance all this stuff out. Otherwise, it's just going to be more whinging on the forums and stuff like that. Right now, that was the fix which should be coming in this Thursday. They have issued another list of, these are the up-to-date list of known issues that we're looking into at the moment. Now this is investigating remaining stability issues and crashes to desktops. Apparently there's been a big uptick in them since update 12. Now this one I'm a little bit confused about. It says you're unable to access ship functions when you're docked at a station. Which says to me, right, if you're in the station menu, you can't look to the left and see your navigation panel, or look to the right and see all your statuses and your cargo. Is that's what the problem is?
I think you can say, let's do the time warp again with looking to the left and looking to the right. Anyway, I think that's how I interpret it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
that's only when at the services screen. So if you open up the station menu, you then can't go right or left. Right? Is that right? I don't know. I don't really do that anymore myself.
Yeah, I must admit, it's not something that I've noticed, but I'm half tempted to try it now to see whether I can replicate it.
See, according to Psykit, unless you pay the looking left and right subscription charge to the Bank of Shan, you wouldn't be allowed to do that.
No, because you don't control that. What you did was you offered me a payday loan, and then you were like, oh no, it's pure, it's definitely going to be out of the goodness of my own heart. And I don't believe that you have any goodness in your heart, Shan. So this is where the problem lies.
Oh, that's horrible. Oh, I'm sure our listeners don't believe you. I'm sure the listeners realise that it's all an act, and I'm actually really, really nice and really, really generous.
Shan, this tone of voice that you've got at the moment, people are just there going, nope, not with that tone of voice.
That's because I'm laughing at it because it's so outrageous.
Dear. Yes, so we can maybe we should put a poll on this about would you trust the Bank of Shan or Space Wonga?
I think I've actually helped Paul Archer out a couple of times in the Bank of Shan as well, actually.
And how many limbs does Paul actually owe you?
At least one kidney.
One kidney. One immortal soul, perhaps. Anyway.
No, Miggles, that's not true.
Or it's all an act and Shan is actually even more evil than he appears. Oh dear. Well, I don't think...
So does that mean, at LaveCon, if I offer to buy you a drink, you won't trust me? You'll think I've spiked it or something?
No, I don't believe you to have the access to those kind of drugs, Shan. You might be evil, but you're like middle class evil.
So basically, he'd steal your pension fund, but he wouldn't poison you. Oh dear! Oh, I am right. Okay, I think we've had enough of roasting Shan for the moment.
Carry on. It's funny, actually. If I told you the truth, you would
What, the fact that you have stolen everybody's pension fund?
No. I will share. I am actually a unpaid director of a homeless charity.
So you're not doing your reputation much good. We need you to be the bitter and the bitter banker. But we'll move on from there. Right. Right. Currently an issue opening the system of Galaxy map incorrectly issues a fade to black transition, and scatter rocks will appear as flat black on terrain using the full screen UI, which I don't think I've seen either of those yet. I know that I've got my own problem with the blooming system map, which just winds me up something rotten. And yeah, you can see plenty of evidence of that on the Top Shift streams. There is coming up a Frame Shift Live at 4 p.m. this Thursday. They're going to have talking about the usual game updates, which is probably what we've just discussed, community highlights, and if all goes to plan, they're hoping to have another developer interview.
Do we know who?
No, we just have to hope that they actually get someone, because apparently they're all very busy at the moment, and these things take a couple of hours to set up and
so
run.
it's the usual last one out of the building goes on the stream.
Would someone like to volunteer, and everybody takes one step back, and there's one poor sod going, "Oh, not me."
Maybe they play Spin the Python or something, and have a little model Python, and they spin it around the office, and whoever points to.
Yeah. Well, there's also a quick touch on LaveCon 2022. Yes, tickets are still available for, obviously, LaveCon. We've got less than a month now. It's 3.5 weeks, and yeah. So some of the team community will be there to say hello, and they might even put on a fun show with some developers. So like I said, we haven't had anything confirmed with Karen yet. I don't think there's going to be a Q&A or something like that, but at least Shan will be able to corner somebody.
I was actually about to make a comment about that before people think I'm about to pounce on them. I do respect the developers, and I do want to give them not a hard time, but a polite time, because they could be like viewed as being tossed into the lion's den at LaveCon. And I think if people behave like they did at the event in February, I think it'll be all right, because most people there are genuinely interested, generally wanting questions and being nice. I don't really. Well, a couple of LaveCons ago, there was a particular incident that happened where someone ambushed, I think it was, the developers, and really was aggressively questioning them, and I felt quite uncomfortable with it. So I hope they come. I hope they enjoy their time, because I want them to come back.
Yeah, and of course we'll be touching on some of the. We were not going to mention any names, but obviously that got let out of the bag there. Right. Moving on. Let's see. What have the in-game events been happening this week? Well, it's all been about Azimuth, really. Azimuth and Salvation. So on the 22nd of June, Superpowers Stand with Azimuth is the main headline. Mostly going along the same lines of, well, Aegis wasn't doing that much, and at least Salvation has got a chance of winning this war, so we're with Salvation despite his dodgy stuff. Seems to be the line that most of the superpowers are taking. There's, with the exception of the Alliance, because the Alliance have now officially made a pact with the Sirius Corporation, much to the annoyance of a lot of people, because, yeah, you can guess which way that CG went. And the rest of the the Galnet news for the entire week has been basically a historical perspective in 4 parts. So we've basically been getting a part of this once a week, just explaining everything that's been happening in the last 200, 300 years. And recap, bring you all up to speed. And that's all that's been officially in Galnet. But we'll be able to talk about other ongoing stuff in a bit. So, I think it's that time of the week again.
Store alert!
Right, and welcome back. Well, the first thing that I think we should say is that both Standard Elite and Odyssey are now on sale on Steam. It's until the 7th of July. The Standard Elite game, including Horizons, you can now pick up for a £5, and Odyssey is at the moment about £16. So I think that's a £16 for Odyssey is actually quite a good price, to be honest. But let's see what other people think to that. As far as the Frontier Store is concerned, the ships that we've got are basically the Imperial Eagle Osiris skins. Now, these are actually, I'm looking through all of these, and they're absolutely gorgeous. We had the gold and blue one last week, but looking through the list here, we've got the aqua and white, the black and gold, the white and blue, which I absolutely adore. I think that one looks beautiful. The crimson and white, and of course the brown and gold. So, if you love your Imperial Eagles, go on then, Shan.
I agree with you. The blue one looks good. The brown and gold, not really sure about that one. I kind of, in my view, that should be black and gold, not that kind of brown. It looks like
They've got a black and gold one.
Yeah, I don't know. The brown and gold looks a bit 1970s.
Austin Princess.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. But the red one, I quite like the red one.
Yeah, I mean it's yeah, I mean, the red one actually reminds me of fighters from bad guy fighters from Buck Rogers. Don't know why. It just does. I think it's just the same color.
Were they red? I think they were red, weren't they?
Yeah, they were red. Sort of kind of red dwarfy red. But yeah, I mean, I think the favorite out of that little list is certainly, I can't make up my mind between the white and blue and the gold and blue. Oh, and even the black and gold looks good. Oh, because I do like flying around in an Imperial Eagle. It's yeah, so quite a nice selection there.
I mean, I'm not a fan of the Imperial Eagle ship, to be fair.
Incidentally, why? Is it just because it's not maneuverable enough?
No, it just kind of looks like China's copied the design and decided to make it a bit more flamboyant. It's the anime version of an eagle, actually, I think.
Animes in Japan, and
I know that. I'm just thinking of what it reminds me of, but yeah, it looks like an anime eagle, particularly the red and the white one. You sort of expected to join together with other eagles and make a robot or something.
Yeah. Okay, I see where you're getting at. Yes, the Robotech of Elite Dangerous. Right. Okay then. Well, what I think we'll do is we'll take a short break, and I think we're going to come back with an interesting main discussion.
Is your life like this? It could be like this.
Astrogator Tours. Put some excitement back in your life. Book an adventure in the Lave Business Directory. Now.
The what now?
I spend so much time in my Imperial Trader, I find it really hard to meet people.
I mean, when do you get the time to go to bars when you're taking on courier jobs for the military?
But with VenusDating.com, it was so simple. I just put in my personal details and they found me my perfect match.
I really thought it would be difficult, but Venus Dating made it so simple, with so much in common.
We both like movies, walking along the beach at sunset,
browsing Imperial shipyards.
And of course, since we started dating, we've discovered that we both really love shooting Thargoids. Let your voyage begin with VenusDating.com for every first encounter.
Want to tour the frontier? Travel with Colmac Reeve and our new fleet of passenger starliners. We've opened up the universe for a range of budgets. Option 1, luxury.
My husband and I like to travel in comfort. The new luxury cabins were like a home away from home. After all, one's home is a castle.
Option 2, first class.
We'd saved up a bit for a really special trip. The first class cabins were like nothing we've travelled in before. Really luxurious.
Option 3, travel cabin.
We won a trip with Cormac Reeves' monthly lotto. A travel cabin for two on a starliner around the solar system. Once in a lifetime for us. Simply amazing.
Option 4, basic accommodation.
Me and my mates just wanted to hitch around the universe. It's so great that we have the option of getting a really cheap cabin to see the sights. It saved us loads.
And for the budget conscious and slaves, we have our cheapest option yet.
Well, I needed a...
And we won't sell any of those frozen passengers into slavery, I promise. Colmac Reeves all budget tours, seeing the galaxy from luxury to freezing tubes.
I tuned out.
And welcome back. Now, this is actually quite interesting because it wasn't mentioned in Galnet news, but there is something else afoot. Now, according to the megaships, all the Azimuth megaships, they are preparing to jump to the permit lock system HIP 22460 on Thursday morning. Now, the thing we've got to ask is, right, now, the important thing to mention about this system is that, yeah, it is permit locked. You can get access by scanning a nav beacon, which, you know, look it up in Canon, you find out how to do it. But for the majority of people, we can't get access to it. So, it does put in 3 questions that I'd like to ask sort of everybody, and anybody in the chat if they'd like to join in as well. Will you be joining these megaships? Will you be docking at one of the world's class megaships that are going? What do you expect to happen? And what do you want to happen? And I think we're going to have to. We'll start with Psychic first, because I know she's loving this little bit. Just going on.
I mean, it's something else, isn't it? Something Azimuth related. So it's gearing up to something, shall we say? I will say that only 2 of them now are heading to HIP 22460. There are 2 other ones that are going to another star in the Pleiades sector. So Pleiades sector CWU B32. So and that's literally pretty much next door. So that to me says that they're going to be, they have the potential to maybe be issuing out permits to 22460. So it might be the case that you don't have to do the 100 or 150 so light year trek. Go and get the permit from the last listening post from the Hyphens Cache.
Yeah.
Am I going? Yes.
Good.
Does the Pope shit in the woods? Yes, he does. I'm gonna be there with bells on, and I'm very excited about any potential thing that's going to potentially happen within that system, because that system is the system where the Black Flight hid.
Yeah.
So it to me. Because the Black Flight are like this, decided to be more now like, because they're acting underneath the Witch as far as the D2 testing stuff is concerned. That it's like they're like some kind of militant wing of Azimuth now, like they're military division thing. I'm very excited to see what happens and to see what's going on over there. If anything, although everything to me is saying combat CG.
You're saying combat CG this time.
That's
right.
That's what I'm expecting. It might be a one-sided combat CG in that the rewards are only for salvation.
Yeah.
But I feel like there will be another. Obviously, there's always another side to fight in the war, because there are 2 sides to every war. That's kind of my thoughts. Whether or not that it's going to be just fighting Thargoids, I can't see it being fighting Thargoids right now. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Right. Excellent. Okay, we'll move on to Shan. You've got stuff about this system which is permit locked.
Yes, it's interesting. It's an unobtainable permit lock system, rather than jumping somewhere with the permit that is not attainable, like the Gnosis incident. Because that jumped in the middle of a whole permit lock system, didn't it?
Well, it didn't. It was going to, but didn't.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if they say permit locked, in my mind, it's like a place you can't get a permit for, so there's a unique opportunity. The fact there's so many installations there would indicate, I think, and agree with Sai, that's some kind of CG going on. Probably, maybe Salvations or the Witch's Last Stand CG.
A last stand? What do you think?
Definitely last stand.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, what I'm saying is the reason they went there simply because it's their hidey hole, and they think, okay, well, it's permit lock, people don't know about it too much, and we'll hide up there for a while, and then it kicks off, and then maybe they slip away and come back at a later date. But it would seem to me, the fact that it's out of the way, is permit locked, that it was meant to be a hiding place, which would indicate a combat CG, I think.
Right. I see.
What do I want to happen? Probably, I would like the system, because it's permit locked. Maybe revoke the permit if to make it wide open. The combat CG, they're all right, but I'm hoping we get another Gnosis style thing where the Salvation jumps in and it's swarmed by Thargoids, and you then have to choose whether you help Salvation out or you collect the Thargoid bits and hand them into Paleo or something like that, anyway, to signify that you don't want Salvation to succeed.
Okay, Fair enough. That seems a good suggestion. Okay, Mac, have you been following the whole Azimuth saga so far then?
No, I've been blissfully unaware of it. Absolutely blissfully and completely unaware of it. And I'm being shot at right now. But yes, I've been, yeah, I know, I've just been doing East India Company work, and it's kind of the whole thing's passed me by, to be honest.
I take it in this case, does this Azimuth, what we're discussing here, does that appeal to you, or is it just one of these things that you think, that's something interesting happening in somewhere else in the galaxy?
Yeah, it's kind of like the backdrop. It's one of those things. It's like some distant, far-flung thing that doesn't really affect our profits. So we just keep on trucking. You know what I mean? So yeah, what I need to do is do a catch up. I'm sure Peter Wotherspoon's got a Galnet News Digest podcast about it, so he can read it, so I don't have to.
Yeah.
But,
yes,
yeah,
he's working on the. I do believe he's working on the summary of the last week of catch-ups that are going on.
So what I'll probably do is listen to that when I'm out space trucking. It's kind of just the. It's like one of those things I can't really affect. So, a bit like, some distant, far-flung war, or some dictator in some far-off land doing something. And, it's like, it's a bit sort of out there, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. It sort of is a case of you need to get involved, but, you don't need to get involved, so you're just watching from a distance.
The thing is, I've never done anything Thargoid. The most like Xena-related thing I've done was last night being hyperdicted a few times during the buckyball race. I've just never really done any of that side or anything really. I did do, because let's see, what was that ship that got blown up by was it the Witch?
Alexandria,
yes. I did go and got all the audio. I quite enjoyed that. That was actually when the show was on. I followed Ben and a couple of others out there, and I just went and listened to the logs. I do enjoy the story, but it's kind of passed me by, really. I should probably not let it do that.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Okay, well, let's see. What do I think? Oh, well, this is going to be interesting. Well, will I be going? Yes, I'm going to get my anti-Xeno ship down to the Pleiades and dock with one of these mega ships, which will be jumping in there. What do I expect to happen? Well, this is the thing. I am expecting something to happen at these bases, whether or not it's a combat CG or another breadcrumb hunt. It'll be something like that. What I would want to happen would be, as Shan said, a kind of Geonosis event. Now, the Geonosis event got bad press last time because, first of all, the message got sent out too early, so everybody knew that the ship was going to be hyperdicted and intercepted by the Thargoids. And also, they didn't fix the security zone, or the no-fire zone around the ship. So if you flew off originally to defend the ship, you first of all get fired for discharging your weapons, and then get shot down even though you were defending the megaship. Both of those things took a morning to sort, but by then I think most of the damage was done, and everybody was a bit miffed with it. But
it was a bit of a cock up. But on the other hand, I found it great fun because I actually went there. I found the chaos kind of fun, I actually went there with my alt account in a dolphin, and I
Yeah.
sort of cowered on the decks while this was going on. And I think I even got a badge for EDSM for doing it, for being on the Gnosis and not basically taking off. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of it was a bit of a cock up, but I do have some a slightly fond memory of it.
Yeah, and I will say that once those two problems were sorted out with the Gnosis, it was actually really, really fun. It's one of my high points was flying around there, defending the Gnosis land. It had a very Battlestar Galactica feel to it, which I thought was brilliant. Psychic.
So, what is your theory and what is your justification behind the theory that you're going to get another Gnosis event, in that you're expecting Thargoids to be suddenly swarming around Salvation ships? Where are you getting the clues or the hints to that happening?
Well, at the moment, I'm just going on previous experience with the mega ships jumping into basically locked.
So
locked
one of the mega ships that's jumping, I believe, is jumping from Mbuni,
Right.
which is a permit lock system. It's been there for a little while. It's not like a completely unexplored section of space that's been locked for a really long time. So there are mega ships that will regularly jump into and around permit lock systems within the bubble, like Sirius and things along those lines. It's in my opinion that's shaky, but that it's a shaky parallel to draw, just because of how different the jumping of the Gnosis to the coal sector was.
Yeah, I mean the problem with the thing about the Gnosis was that a lot of people there were hoping to explore the sector that had been permit locked, but there were, I think, Frontier were too subtle about their hints about the fact that they were saying that do you remember the warning network that they used to have for Thargoid attacks? The beacons all in the Pleiades would point at certain systems, and you'd know that next week those systems would come under attack. Well, the week before the Gnosis jumped, all 6 beacons were pointing at the Gnosis, and that was supposed to be a hint to say that ship's going to come under attack next week, but it was too subtle. But this time,
I think it was probably a case that people maybe didn't want to believe it either. They were like, "Oh yeah, no, that's not going to happen. It's fine. How could it possibly do the thing that it's predicted all this time before?"
Yeah. It's the Eagle Eye network. I forgot. It's that long since it's been used. I forgot that the Eagle Eye network was there. I mean, it's probably been discontinued because wasn't it Aegis? Yeah. Yeah. Shan, you've got some thoughts about mechanics, etc.
Yes, I was just wondering. Really, is because people saying, "Oh, it's permit locked," people to get stranded there. A bit like people were in the Gnosis event, but permits only stop you getting in, not getting out. So I think you can go there and feel quite comfortable. You're not going to get stranded there. The other thing I am wondering is, why are they announcing where it's going to now? Why didn't they put breadcrumbs or some kind of secondary mission to let people find out where it went to? Have that part as part of the narrative.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. This isn't in Galnet news, Shan. This is people have worked this out because they've been flying around the megaships, and then suddenly noticed that the megaships have got their target for next week at this particular system, and gone, hang on a second, this is permit locked.
So when you drop into the into a megaship. If it's going to if it's got a planned jump in the next sort of like 3-4 days, it will pop up in the same way that if you drop into your fleet carrier and it's plotting a jump and it's going to jump in 10 minutes or so, it will tell you as soon as you jump into the system.
Isn't that a bit of an own goal though?
Well, how else would you want them to do it? The standard way that's the same for everything, or some other point some beacons at a station that everybody ignores?
I'd have it pointing to a different destination, and then it end up there. So everyone goes, "Oh, the ship's going there," and it doesn't go there.
Well, the main reason that everybody's excited about this is because they know that the ship is going to a permanent lock system. If they'd said, "Okay, let's point the ship at a different system," then that wouldn't get the same excitement, would it?
Yeah, but it'd be yeah, it's all right. It's just I'm just kind of thinking you've kind of given I feel as though they've given the game away too early without any kind of mystery around it. It's just I just feel as though maybe it should have been a bit more obscure.
Well, you'll have to blame Galnet News for that, because I didn't even know that this was going to happen until it came on Galnet News last week. In fact, it wasn't even last week. It was yesterday.
It was last night, because I spoke to Pete about it last night, and he didn't know about it until I'd spoken to him.
So yeah, so effectively this comes from you, Psychic, then.
Well, I mean, it doesn't come from me. It comes from the Witch Hunt Discord, because let's face it, we've been around there for quite a while. We've been like hanging around those systems doing missions, and it popped up for somebody who was heading towards the megaship. So someone went towards the megaship, dropped in, and it was like, oh, okay, this is happening, posted it, and then just arbitrarily, because it would make sense, we went and checked the rest of Azimuth megaships, and for all of those 4 megaships had plotted places. So it was just if like a shed ton of people hadn't been mobilized to go and attack all of the Azimuth systems, I don't think we'd necessarily have been quite as hyper aware of it.
I think that's
also the buckyballers. Epiphus has got a really good point. The buckyballers, the one of the megaships was one of the stops from the buckyball race. So I don't know whether when did buckyball finish? Last night. So anybody going to that megaship who was doing the buckyball race yesterday will have seen that pop up. So it's not just my fault.
And also, Shan, normally the community is quite good at finding this kind of stuff out. I would have expected this news to have hit basically the forums and everything else round about sort of Friday, maybe Saturday, but it's lasted till Monday, really. So the news is now out there, but it's taken a lot longer than usual to disseminate.
Well, the question is how many people were looking for it.
According to Epiphus, it didn't have the message on Sunday, so that's only come up since Monday that they're going to be jumping.
Yeah, I got the message from the one of the buckyball race that it was going to be jumping. I don't remember where it was going to be jumping, but I thought this is a bit funny, because if you're using this as a waypoint in a race, what happens if it had jumped before the race is over?
Basically, there'd be now no longer detour.
Yes.
Because I'm remembering the exploits of Canon, who managed to locate a Thargoid system just from an obscure screenshot and things like that. So I think perhaps in this case, maybe Frontier underestimated people and thought they would hide it in a place that wasn't as easily found. But hey, it's out now.
It is out now, and we're all talking about it, which I think that's a good thing. Try and get
it came as the main topic for today.
Yeah, just in time, to be honest. So Psychic, what have the Witch Discord been?
Oh my gosh, what haven't we been talking about? There's a lot of Witch Hunt Discord has been absolutely wonderful and lovely. There's a lot. I'm not gonna lie, for a dead game, for something to gain up to 500 members that quickly was a little bit of a shock. I'm not gonna lie, but also like a bunch of people who and I know this is slightly off topic, but a bunch of folks who, some of them have just been enjoying the story and don't really know what the BGS is about. And if my only win from this is getting maybe 50 more commanders interested in how the BGS works and things along those lines, that's fucking amazing, and I'm super pleased that people are finding a new depth to Elite. As far as speculation is concerned, oh my gosh,
Gone a bit mad, has it?
People are very, very passionate, as you can imagine. People joining a server with the sole intention of absolutely yeeting Caleb Wycherley into a fucking star would be might be a little bit passionate about the game and things along those lines. There's been lots of talk about it being Black Flight related. And being like something that I was very keen on is the fact that the two mega ships that are jumping into the regional Black Flight system, I feel like there might be something remaining on the Overlook. That is it, the Overlook? Is that what it's called? Yeah, on the Overlook, that is potentially instrumental to Salvation's next mission and next objectives. I would be incredibly surprised if not only we get I would be very surprised and interested if we also see that same Dredger clan that fixed the Golconda also appear in that system with a look to fixing Overlook as well. I feel like the Overlook is another mega ship that could be related to, which is related to Black Flight, is related to Azimuth, and then because of its proximity to Black Flight, is it then if it's and that. So I've got a very, very tinfoil theory about the Golconda, which I have spoken to Pete about as well. We spoke about last night.
Oh, is this the fact that you?
I think it's going to get exploded by Thargoids.
Yes, yeah, you mentioned that a couple of weeks back.
So my thoughts are, if that Dredger clan that fixed the Golconda, the Artificers, was it the Artificers? I think it was.
Gippy Gippo thinks so. Yes.
Close.
Yeah.
If they also turn up in the system, that gives us a tenuous link between Azimuth and the Artificers, and then subsequently the Golconda, and then my chin will start scratching even further than before, and I'm going to need to buy more tinfoil.
Yeah. Which is your base? I think we'll get people to send you a whole load of tinfoil.
I'll pop it onto my Amazon wish list. You can send it me that way.
So it's a pity we don't have tinfoil hats as one of the commodities that we can deliver to certain people's bases, to be honest.
I mean, if you could get it anywhere, you could probably get it from Micah's Rest and Snooky Zan would be the proprietor of tinfoil hats.
Send your tinfoil hats too. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting event, because I think the more we get these kind of events, the more excited people tend to get. But the problem is when people get excited, that they tend to get overexcited, and then everyone gets disappointed. Because I'm thinking back to the Golconda stuff again. Not the Golconda, I'll get this right for Phoenix Blue, the Gnosis event.
Well done, I'm so proud of you. what for you, like, just like, or for I'm talking like anyone who was involved, and that includes chat, what for you was the disappointing part of the Gnosis event?
Oh, it was certainly the fact the message went out too early.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the one bit that really, I think, got everybody disappointed, and then the fact that that no fire zone killed off so many of their own commanders when they were, and they had such a long way to come back. It was a killer, to be honest. Took away any enthusiasm that most people had. Go on, Jan.
I think for me, the disappointment with Gnosis was when you logged in, you got the normal space, the normal mega ship menu, but there was no hint of what was going on outside. So
there was alarms and everything. There was alarms.
Not initially. Not initially. There wasn't.
You see, this is what I was on about, because they'd put a load of extra stuff in, sort of like half a day after the event, well, half a day into the event. Admittedly, it should have been in right at the very beginning, and that's why I think they screwed things up a bit.
Because people logged in, didn't they? Launched and then immediately got, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was great, but
you would. So it's the Gnosis was a letdown for some people, because basically they got caught up by the bugs and the fact that the Galnet news was out too early. Once you got past that, it was really, really good, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But they've got to release the content right this time, and from what I've seen so far, I think they're on the right. They're on the right plan.
What would you like? Because I remember that the Gnosis event was well before I got interested in any part of the lore. I was very, very much in the camp of, there's literally no story in Elite whatsoever. Oh, how the turntables. What would you have done for the Gnosis event, if anything? With I know, like, making sure everything launches on time is one thing, but is there anything else that you would have done differently, or you would have liked to have seen been done differently? Money, no object. Resources, no object.
Right. Okay. For the Gnosis itself, I would have had the ship is actually crippled, and it can't move. You've got two objectives. You've got one objective, which will be a community goal, to defend the Gnosis against Thargoid attack. And if at the end of the week stage 1 isn't complete, then the Gnosis was destroyed. Then second point, you'd have a second community goal to go out and get Thargoid artifacts. Thargoid artifacts like hearts or resin or whatever from the system that we were in. You had to bring them back to the Gnosis so that they could help use that to repair the hyperdrive for some reason. Or they go off and get some kind of commodity to come back and bring to repair the hyperdrive. And again, if a certain level wasn't reached at the end of the week, then basically the Gnosis would have been destroyed. I did feel that it was basically an immortal ship. There wasn't as much. Your ships and your stuff would explode, but the actual megaship itself wasn't really under much danger. And I would have liked to have added that level of. I know everybody's saying Gnosis, Colin, Gnosis. Just bear with me, okay?
Just guys, pour yourself a drink. Please pour yourself a drink, and once you're ready, once you hear him pronounce something incorrectly, just take a drink. It's fine. It's fine. That's the best way it works.
We will be drunk within the first half hour.
I know, and then suddenly Lave Radio would become palatable.
Oh, do you want me to mention Guild Wars if people need to drink?
Yeah, keep mentioning Guild Wars as well.
Air2 Psychic, jeez. God, we'll have to pair you up with Simon Winand if you keep that attitude up. Jeez. Right. What about yourself then, Psychic? We'll turn that back on you. If there was something that, I mean, you said you didn't get involved with.
I enjoyed laughing at everything and like everything that was happening. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. Like I just thought it was so funny what happened with the Gnosis, that it was just like a really silly, a bit of an oops and a bit of a yikes with the stuff releasing first and that kind of thing. But that was like one of the first times where I went, oh, that's quite interesting. Let's see what would have happened. I would have liked to see. I don't know really. I know kind of the side of that I want to see on this going forward, because I feel a lot more invested within. Clearly, I feel incredibly invested in the Azimuth storyline. There's no denying with that. I have quite firmly planted my foot in where I think that should go, or where I want that to go on just personal narrative and player emphasis. I think I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more. Like alongside yourself, like some kind of reparations CG to get it up and going again. But where was it when everything fluffed up with the Gnosis? Where was it?
Well, it wasn't in the coal sector. It had been stopped before the coal sector.
It was and sector something or other, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was somewhere that you could get to relatively easily.
Well, that was the thing. You couldn't, because you basically, if you lost your ship, the nearest station was up about 150 light years away, which were, for a lot of these guys,
I think it was further. I think it was about a Kylie away. I seem to recall. Yeah, it was about that.
I know. I remember hearing vicariously through some other people that it was like they'd all gone out there in their anti-Thargoid ships, ready to have a go at some flowery cabbage ladies. My mistake. And they popped out. They got gazeboed by the Gnosis and got yeeted X amount back, and their jump range was only like 6 light years because they had anti-Xeno ships.
Yep.
And then they couldn't get back to it.
It was also the other part as well. People jumped out with exploration ships, didn't they?
And they couldn't get out as well. Yeah.
No, they got my alt. I went in my exploration ship and I just had to cower on the decks of the Gnosis. And I agree with Colin. I think there should have been some jeopardy in this. I think there should have been the possibility that the Gnosis got destroyed.
It did have plot armor, didn't it?
It did have plot.
It had extreme plot
That's
armor.
the phrase. That's the phrase I was after. Plot armor. Yeah, because it. I mean, like I said, the flying around the mega ship and defending it from Thargoid scouts was absolutely fantastic. You got a real feeling of being that space hero that you watch. But the problem was that it didn't matter if you're a space hero or not, because the Gnosis at the end of the week jumped, and you didn't have to do anything.
But can you imagine the outrage from Cannon if their mega ship had got destroyed?
I think it would have been absolutely fantastic.
I think it would have been fantastic as well.
It's one of those things with player agency as well, isn't it? I think, like, the connection that people have to the Gnosis is. Oh, I'm gonna tinfoil again, but is akin in some instances to the connection that some commanders feel to the Golconda, because we went through the Interstellar Initiative with it.
Yeah. You see, this is the thing. People got real because it was Cannon's megaship. I mean, this was well before fleet carriers, but this was Cannon's one big special asset.
I think if it would, sorry, Colin.
No, go on, Sean.
No, I think if they'd used, I don't know, Federation capital ships or Imperial capital ships, and they then had a base or something that you could dock and launch in, then they could quite legitimately blow up the capital ship and not offend anyone.
Yeah, admittedly, because it was a player asset that, or a player organization asset, then yeah, it did feel a little.
But also that gives you that agency as well. Like I can see no situation where the Gnosis would have been under the threat of destruction unless X amount of these materials were brought out to it. I can see no situation where that would not have been fulfilled within days.
Maybe the Thargoid ships they sent against the Gnosis went to the Stormtrooper School of Accuracy.
Yeah, I mean that's one way of looking at it. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Psychic, but because the community are normally quite good at doing this, but I must admit the last couple of CGs I've noticed that they were basically scraped over the line for some of them, and I think they could have manipulated it so it was at least close, but. Yeah, Grippy Gecko's completely right, because there are still people who are still angry with Canon and Frontier over Gnosis, even though it wasn't their fault at all. The Gnosis event does seem to bring up a lot of sort of deep buried anger for some reason.
I get it, though. I totally get it.
I just hope with this one that Frontier have learned the lessons from the Gnosis and have used the extra tech that they put in since then to good effect. Because this has the potential to be amazing. Whether it's me hyping expectations,
depending on what it is, entirely.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think they hopefully have learned enough since the Gnosis to make it pretty cool.
I think from my experience, I know, Mac, you've been sort of like not paying attention to the Azimuth storyline at all. But and I mean, there's a great 4-parter that's currently in Galnet that I'm sure you could get Pete to read to you, which would be great, which completely sums it all up. But we have I felt like I felt incredibly invested in what's gone on with the Azimuth saga. I think, and I'm not just saying this for saying this sake, but I really do feel like the people that they've got working behind the scenes and sewing this net over such a long period of time to manage to keep it still interesting, and there's still being things that I'm not expecting through it. I genuinely think that they've done a really good job, and I'm not in any way paying lip service to Frontier for that. I want to clarify, because there's been things in the past that I've been like, oh no, that's not fun. But the Azimuth stuff I've enjoyed from start to finish.
Yeah,
I think it's just great that we've got quite. Just really quickly, I think it's just great they've had a long-running storyline going, a bit like the good old days.
Yeah.
No, I must admit the fact that the Azimuth saga has continued on for so long, I think has been great, because it's been the one thing that has kept a lot of people going despite all the issues that have been happening in Odyssey. And I must admit, sort of when we last Halloween, when we were all running around trying to find the missing, the spaceships and coming across some of that stuff, I think that it's added that extra layer to Elite that it's needed. Okay, Shan.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you guys. Do you feel as though this is the final act of the Azimuth saga, it's kind of drawing to a conclusion, or do you think they'll have a to be continued and then they'll pop up a bit later? Just wondering what your feeling is about where we are in the story.
Okay, we'll go over to Psychic for that one first.
Okay. I was biting my tongue, so I didn't jump in. I feel like we're on the build now. We're on the build to the peak of this like final arc. I'm assuming is the final arc. The peak of this final arc is November. The big thing that's going to happen is November, and then we're running down into then the beginning of next year with something potentially monumental happening, which is going to change the face of Elite, change some core gameplay mechanics. But if they do that, there has to be something lore wise to justify it. So is everything gearing up to me being able to say, I told you that salvation was a wrong un? Am I going to be like lording on top of my I told you so chair, throne? I'm going to call it a throne. I'm feeling regal today. But I feel like this is going to start sowing the seeds of the last the final arc, which will lead eventually to on-foot Thargoid stuff.
Okay, Shan, do you want to just...
Yeah, just a question back to Sai, because that's interesting. So do you feel as though this is the final, if you like, boss fight, or are we on the trash mobs before we get to the boss fight?
I feel like, I don't know that we that we're on the trash mobs. I feel like we are the next few months and the next few months' works of CGs that we see, or the next few decisions that we as a whole player base have to make, are going to shape where certain let's say the big Thargoid incursion is happening, the Tharg's on foot, and we're going to have Thargoid weaponry to fight it. If that has all been tested, if that have been 1 to 2 years of work of research and development into Thargoid on foot combat, the results of a CG isn't going to change the fact that that's going to happen, because they're not going to go, oh well, the player base have said that they want it to come from this person, not the other person. They're going to bend that off. It's going to be it's going to change whoever's name is on the label of the gun, whether it be Palin or whether it be Ramtar or whether it be Salvation. You know, those are the tiny little incremental things that the CGs are going to make a difference to, is where we are getting our technology from, rather than is this going to result in us having a Thargoid hybrid, are we going to have an Orthrus out there, or are we going or not, or is there going to be a Panther Clipper out there or not? Those things are kind of the ships and the guns and all of that stuff that we're getting is set in stone. We're looking at that little minutia detail. And it makes me laugh always when I see people going, oh, you can't fight Salvation because then FDev isn't going to give us the guns that they've been working on. Yes, absolutely. They're going to bin off all of that development because one person's they've changed their mind. It's just going to have a different sticker on it. But if we can control that with the results of our actions, I find that incredibly interesting. And the minutia that we can control as like a huge player base, I find fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I think we are at the beginning of the finale. So at the moment, we are basically the rebels approaching the moon of Endor and just passing by Darth Vader's flagship, and there's a lot of tension happening there. That's where I think we are. There's an awful lot more to come. And I think it is going to build up a lot more until November, when hopefully we'll have this big explosion of narrative that will lead into hopefully some more mechanics. What about you, Mac? Have you got any opinions on this one?
Yeah, Psychic mentioned the Panther Clipper in passing. I'm probably going a little bit off piste here, but what is it about the Panther? It's a box. It's a flying box. Why is everybody so excited about the bloody Panther Clipper? I mean,
so I mentioned it to trigger people.
well, you've triggered me, that's for sure.
If it had been the Imperial Trader, that looks like a Liberator.
The cutter is the Imperial Trader. That's its code name in the code.
Nothing like the Liberator. It was the Liberator look I wanted, not.
Oh, you're talking about the Frontier First Encounters Imperial Trader. Yeah, he was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Was that the one with the squash nose? That was the Imperial Explorer, the one with the kind of like an anvil.
Isn't the Liberator the one with the 3 prongs? Or am
Yeah,
I
it
is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. The main issue that I think I have, as soon as you do mention the Panther, the main reason everybody gets excited about the Panther Clipper is because it was the biggest ship in the previous games, and everybody wants the biggest ship, even though I thought it was awful.
Terrible. It was awful. It was worse than a Type 9.
Yeah,
it was absolutely horrific.
But you could put a huge plasma accelerator in it and just
you
be a
could.
Death Star.
I think the biggest plasma accelerator was a large plasma accelerator back then, but it was pretty damn devastating.
Yeah, but then again,
that's if you could get the Panther Clipper to actually point at anything.
Yeah, because it turned like an absolute cow.
Yeah.
What's the point of having the biggest gun when you've got a little sidewinder that can out? Snub fighters were very good against it.
The other ship I think that was hyped early on in Elite Dangerous's life was the Moray Starboat, and I think that was because people wanted landable atmospheric planets with water, and they imagined they could go underwater and play Subnautica in it.
Yeah, have you ever heard of the Moray Starboat, Psychic?
I haven't. I've heard of the Boa.
Yeah. No, the Moray Starboat was this wonderful hybrid ship, which was a half spaceship, half submarine. and basically, it was in the original, I thought it was the original 2 games, and the idea behind it was that if you came across a water world, you could fly through the atmosphere in the water world and then go underneath the sea. Which to me sounds awesome.
I mean, it absolutely does. It's like the embodiment of my Thunderbird 2, Thunderbird 4 fantasy, which is it remains alive until FDM squash it.
But you see, the thing is, it's actually still canon because it was in the Elite Dangerous books. One of the crews that were featured in the Elite Dangerous books were flying a Moray Starboat. And so apparently if it's in the books, it's still canon.
We can only dream.
We can only dream, but yeah. So
yes, as the little bit of information on the Moray Starboat from the old Elite Wiki. As its name suggests, the Moray Starboat is derived from a seafaring vessel. Developed initially as a submarine flying boat, marine trench companies soon saw the possibilities for extending their operations into space. So yes, notable features. Apparently, it looks like an upside-down pyramid.
Oh yes, don't you love 90s graphics? Oh, and 80s graphics, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, no, because it was still in Frontier First Encounters, so yeah.
Was it just in Frontier First Encounters?
Yeah, it continued on to the 90s.
Oh, interesting. I know I'm being told by Wintermute GB that it was not in the original Elite game. I'm sure it was.
Miggles is suggesting, will we ever see the Merlin? I know somebody who'd be very excited to see that one.
Oh no, this is what made me laugh. Is that again? It goes to show that people of a certain age love this ship, but the reason that the Merlin was chosen was because basically it had 3 prongs, like the Liberator. But however, when you actually look at what the ship looks like in Frontier First Encounters, it's the ugliest thing. It's like it took all the grace of an Imperial shuttle and just squished it. It's horrible.
If it was down to me, if you ran out of money and refused to use the Bank of Shan, You will be busted back to an interplanetary shuttle.
Space Wonga. Space Wonga strikes again. Yeah, there's a lot of people thinking. Because I'm sure that the Starboat was mentioned in the Dark Wheel novelette. But I'll have to get it. You're gonna get me looking at the blooming Dark Wheel novelette again, aren't you?
You don't remember every page of it yet, Colin?
No, I've just got my old. It's my old age. I'm beginning to lose track of all my facts and figures. Next, I'll be forgetting half the Star Wars planets. Next. Oh no. What is the equivalent of nerdy dementia? When you start to forget all your nerdy facts and figures.
Getting a life.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. Right. Well, does anybody have got? Psychic, is there anything you'd like to wrap up with this?
I hear that some of you might not like Salvation, and if you don't like Salvation and you want to be in some kind of organized race against Salvation, I highly recommend dropping into the Operation Witch Hunt Discord, because it's turned into a bit of a monster, and I'm really enjoying it. It's been a lot of fun to see. To see a lot of people who really like the BGS get together and butt heads. That's been kind of cool, and it's just it's been a good laugh. But it's very nice to be in a situation where we can see the game. Not necessarily. Occasionally, there's just those moments where we see that the game isn't quite necessarily as dead as maybe some people make it out to be. And it's been the Azimuth saga and this section and everything that's currently happening is a very, very good indicator of that, and it makes me happy. And I like lore.
Yeah, because I was about to mention this. You got a mention on the who is it? The Burrs. They were getting involved with your anti-salvation stuff. So
yeah, I think I don't want to spoil anything, but I think there might be a few lines spoken by some people who might have done something in the galaxy on Galnet News Digest as well, on the special after the show. But I don't want to spoil it. Not that it's already gone out on YouTube or anything.
Not dropping any hints in advance. No,
not at all. Not at all. The only other thing that I will say is that I did see, I know it's probably in jest, but I did see Matty say in chat that I'd obviously heard from people in Frontier about what is happening and can't wait to tell us. And to that I say, I fucking wish, because I love spoilers. I love spoilers so much, but I've not. I wish I had. But I'm just in the dark as everyone else, but with a really vested interest. And I love lore so much.
Well, that's fantastic to hear. So, well, obviously, fingers crossed for Thursday, and we're hoping that something does come out of the bag and surprises. So, yeah. Let's wait and see, and I wonder whether or not they'll be talking about it on the live stream, which doesn't surprise me. Right, moving on from there, I think we shall look through what's been happening in the community this week. Well, let's start off with something that everybody likes to watch. And that is the High Wake. The High Wake have come up with a new animation called The Gift. And the space of Elite Dangerous is a cruel and merciless, and any commander's journey is full of situations beyond their control. However, even in a hopeless situation, you can find the time and opportunity to think about loved ones and we will put a link into that in the show notes. Has anybody seen that? Because I haven't had a chance to.
It's fantastic.
Cool.
It's utterly fantastic. Be prepared for it to hit you right in the feels, because it certainly did for me. It is incredibly, incredibly good.
Ah, right, I see. No, this is one thing that I was quite surprised about. There is a YouTuber called Yavi. Now he's got sort of like more than 500,000 subscribers, so he's not somebody who's just picking it up for no apparent reason. But he was doing a series of articles about what's the new Bethesda game, Starfield.
Mm-hmm.
Right, he's really looking forward to Starfield, so he's doing an expose on each of what he considers their competitors. So he's already done No Man's Sky, he's done Star Citizen, and this time it was the turn of Elite Dangerous. And so he's gone in. He's never heard of Elite Dangerous before. He's not familiar with any of the issues that have hit Odyssey. So he's gone in straight in Odyssey Elite Dangerous as a complete, innocent, if you like, poor newbie innocent, and just played it from start to about 3 or 4 hours in, and it must be said he's really enjoyed the new player experience. And we'll show you. We'll put a link in the show notes to it. I take it I must be the only person that's seen that.
No, I saw it. I saw it, Colin.
Okay, what did you think, then, Sean?
I thought it was really good. There was a bit that kind of stuck out for me, and I thought, you poor sweet child. When he scrolled out and he saw like a screen full of systems and planets, and he goes, "It's not the map." And I thought, but no, it's actually, I thought I quite enjoyed it. He didn't give it a critique kind of, oh, this should be better, or this was an app, or what. So if you're expecting a critique, it's not that, but it is someone just enjoying the game for what it is, a game. So I enjoyed it. I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, it's very light-hearted, and I must admit that all the issues that we've had with bugs and crashes and things like that, it seemed very stable to him. And
well, if he just goes from Star Citizen, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose, considering the previous one he'd done is Star Citizen. So yeah, that's one to look forward to. Now, obviously, the big one that happened in the community this week was the Buckyball, the Seven Sisters Speedway remixed. So fair play to the regulation Cobra class, which had Commander MD win with a base time of 38 minutes and 41 seconds. How is he able to do that? And he was in the Golden Vector, followed by Commander Brewski and, get your drinks ready, Elaster Malfa. That's the best you're going to get. So they were the top three, and of course we've got Sulus and Bunnis, Ephus. We've got Alastair Melfo has got a second entry, but that, of course, that's Osric, isn't it? J Space, Aziel Bub, and Stony Wan are all the guys that have managed to get more than 1 point. And unfortunately, there's me in 16th, and there's only Commander Homburger. Thank you, sir, for being slower than me. You're the only one that is, who's now down in 17th place. Although we are waiting for a result to be confirmed, Mac. So,
and anybody else, I think, because the guy who organised it said in the thread he'd had some real life things to do. So. There's possibly some more entrants that we don't know of just yet. This is why I'm thinking it's probably too good to be true that I'll get into the S zone.
Yeah, that's not going to be fair. You'll be out the 1 point club. That's not right. The actual unlimited open class, there weren't as many entries, I'm afraid to say. There's only been 11 so far logged, but as Mac has said, there's a few more coming. I actually had a little bit of a problem with this one. It's basically, I think, in the regulation Cobra, to go from the starting point all the way down to the Seven Sisters was 13 jumps. And that's 10 minutes either way. I just felt it was a little bit long, and the fact that I got completely destroyed close to Maya, and I then had to go all those 13 jumps back up to the start line just to start another run. I almost didn't do it because it.
Yeah, I had the same problem. I almost ran out of time. There's literally less than an hour to go before the closing time. If I'd got blown up again, that would have been it.
Yeah. I do like the fact that there's a whole lot of complexity and bonus times that you could have. I thought that was really good.
That was awesome. I really loved doing all the various shenanigans in it. I think there was 9 of them in total, and that was just superb.
Yeah, because you got time bonuses for the barbecue challenge, which is basically how high you could heat your ship. Xeno baiting, which basically if you got interdicted and you targeted a Thargoid ship, you got a 300-second bonus. That was a godsend for me.
Or 400 seconds if you could get within 100 meters, which I tried. I made a valiant effort to do that, but it didn't happen.
I got told actually there was a tourist beacon practically right next to one of the stations.
There was, yes.
After I'd done a run, so I could have had another 300 seconds then.
Next to Obsidian Orbital, I couldn't believe it when I saw it because I thought, well, I only do the tourist beacon if it's like on the way or really close because it's easy to burn 300 seconds just getting there. And then when I was scrolling through the destinations, I saw it. I thought, bloody hell, that's right next door to the station. So yeah, you could just visit that one. And I did get with it. In fact, I collided with it, which was quite handy because it stopped me and I could turn around and then boost back to the station.
Yeah, I have to applaud the good old Commander Alec Turner for attempting Nux coup de grace, which is you risk everything right at the very end as you boost into Ulm Horizons with your shields offline for with the bonus of 1 second per millisecond of velocity. So only he blew up.
I found that one because I thought that was going to be difficult, but I actually found it reasonably straightforward. Basically, all you had to do is get a nice straight path in. I mean, he was probably trying to do it a lot faster than me, of course. Just the whole general snaking into the port. But I spent, I didn't rush lining up with the docking port, so I made a nice straight vector in. And as soon as you go through the slot, FA off, and then just flip the ship. And as soon as you've pointed back at the entrance again, boost. And that brings you to pretty much a shuddering halt.
Yeah, it is. It takes a trick. It's a bit of a trick to actually pull that off, but it's well worth learning, especially if you're buckyballing.
But yes, I'll have that in hand for the next race. Anything like that goes on for boosting, generally boosting into a station. So yeah.
Yeah. Right. We've also got to thank Commander Reiko for organising the whole thing. And also, he's been reviewing every single entry, so he has been quite busy. So apparently, we've had 33 ships destroyed, runs completed about 40, runs aborted about 11, and Commander Fish 12172, he got his highest recorded ship temperature to 380 degrees.
How? I thought I was doing well with 220.
So yeah, that's buckyball complete for another week, and well, hopefully.
Would you like to know when the next one's going to be?
Pardon?
Would you like to know when the next one's going to be?
I think it'd be nice to know when the next one is.
On paper at the moment, potentially the week after LaveCon is when it will start.
Okay, so that might be.
So we've got some time, you know.
Yeah, we've got to recover from LaveCon first, or other people have got to anyway.
I've got to buy a ticket.
Yeah. So right. Well, we don't have anything for Mostly Clueless this week. Has anybody got any other business they'd just like to quickly bring up?
Oh, I do.
Go on then.
So, I was ill on Friday, and I didn't get to do the meetup and create the. I had to finish my stream slightly earlier because I wasn't feeling particularly well. I've had, on top of everything else that's been going on, I've been carrying a lot of stress, and the stress has gone straight into my back, which is where I carry a lot of my stress. And in turn, I spent pretty much most of the weekend getting up, saying hello to our house guests, and then going back to bed. So I had to postpone the very end of the stream, the getting together for the like doing some Rainbow 07s and some Pride shenanigans and stuff for next week. So I'm back streaming Thursday and Friday, still raising money for Ilga World, who are a fantastic charity who are doing a lot for on government bodies and providing advice for various different LGBTQ issues throughout the world. They're amazing. The more I look into them, the more amazing I find them to be. But yeah, we're still raising money. Feel free to drop on, and if you've got a little bit extra quid, I'd really appreciate it being thrown in my direction, or specifically thrown in Tiltify's direction for the charity. And come and join me and do some rainbows together, and let's do gay stuff. Not literally. I'm good.
Okay, fair enough. Shan?
I would say there's a question, isn't there, on the show notes?
Is it that terrible joke?
Yes, it's the terrible joke.
I can't see a question.
Why did the orange sidewinder cross the Milky Way?
I don't know.
Side.
Because Colin picked up the wrong ship and left his adder at Lave Station. Ha ha ha.
Oh, that's Ventura, isn't it? It's got to be Commander Ventura.
I thought that was a Ben joke, actually. I thought it was a Ben joke.
I thought it was a Shan joke. So what? Who could it possibly be?
I think Commander Ventura's got a fixation about me and adders for some reason. I got no idea why. It's just...
Is it because you love adders so much?
Oh, yes. Basically the Volkswagen van of all ships.
No, it's the Bedford truck, isn't it? Because the VW van has got a bit of class and thing. This is like the Bedford.
Oh, suddenly
no,
I just refreshed my show notes, and that's where the question has suddenly appeared. So I do apologise for not refreshing my show notes often enough. Right. One thing that I should make people aware of is that we have a thread happening on the forums at the moment, mostly asking about what people think is going to be the updated or refreshed feature that is coming in early 2023. We've got a kind of list here of what the possibilities are and what you think, what you'd like it to be, and what you think it will probably be. So if you just want to update your opinions on that, then we can all collate them and put them into a show at a later point. So, Mac, have you got any other? Have you got any East India stuff to plug?
I'm being shot at right now.
Oh, right. So, yeah, multitasking is not the best. Well, in that case, we will move on to.
And I'm going to get shot at even more. There's a guard coming. Oh no, this is going wrong.
I bet you this is one where no murders should happen.
No, there's no restriction on murders, but I try and do these without murdering too many people.
Did you hear that, Psychic?
I don't understand it. I don't understand your mentality behind that. Like, I mean, do crime, man. Crime absolutely pays in Elite Dangerous.
Well, the thing is, I always end up wanted. In fact, that last week I ended up.
You can hear them, they're coming for you in the background.
Last week I ended up actually being sort of exiled from the EIC because I got a mission horribly wrong. I got kind of zergarushed by the station, the personnel, and it was one of those upload data ones. You have to hang around for ages while it's uploading. And I was trying to defend my corner. Anyway, they got me, and I got sent to. I'd managed to upload the data, but I hadn't escaped the settlement, so I got sent to the shield to resolve. And so I got a 50,000 credit fine from the IC, which I couldn't pay off because I had notoriety. Because in my defense, I was like shooting people, so I had to spend. I'd like notoriety of 5 or 6, so it wasn't just trivial, you know. Oh, now they've got a plasma shotgun. This is not going well. My shields have gone down.
Just run away! Run away for now, it's fine!
I'm backed into a corner. I'm being murdered slowly. Oh, I've got this guy. That's all right. Oh, no, there's another one.
Right. Well, if that's the case, then let's just do our shout-outs while
I've been murdered.
Mac has been murdered. Well, commiserations. But yes, we have The Dex Legacy, Episode 4, Fatal Flaws. That'll premiere at next week's Lave Radio episode on the 5th of the 7th at 8 o'clock. More information is available at thedexlegacy.com. Our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, it broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30. You can tune in for Hutton Madness at twitch.tv/Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you just want the audio, go to radio.forthemug.com. The discerning commander who likes a bit of CQC action, check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/Elite Dangerous CQC, all one word. The following Elite Dangerous podcast we'll give a shout out to. So it's Alagrab AM, Canon Podcast, the Elite Cast for Spanish speakers, Fatherhood Podcast, Flight Assist. Who's on this week?
Commander Cal for all seasons.
Excellent. We also have the Guard Frequency, who do other space sims as well. We have the Loose Screws, and we have Squeaking Fuel. For those of you that want a literary discussion, well, we'll just have to wait for Alan Stroud to get some free time to put the Data Slate podcast together. But we do know we have the most excellent Galnet News Digest following this, as provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. So thanks to everyone who's chipped in on the Twitch chat and the in-game commanders that have been following me about. I've had, obviously, Commander Ventura. It's Commander Miggles has stood right in front of me. And we've also got Commander Mac Winston, who's now 83 light years away.
Yes.
And we've now got a Crate Phantom suddenly appear in Lave Station. As well. So yeah, so we've got hello to Miggles and hello to Ventura, because I can see you horrible people. And special thanks, of course, goes to Commander Tokuso, JN Trax, and Alan Stroud, who have all created music which we use in the show. So that's it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can email info@laveradio.com, hit us up at facebook.com/laveradio, tweet us at Lave Radio, or you can join our Discord server by going to discord.io/laveradio. We also have a TeamSpeak server where commanders like to hang out and chat. It's shared with the Hutton Truckers, so you have been warned, and you can find that at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Do get in touch if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss with us at a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. So thanks to Shan, thanks to Psychit, and thanks of course to Mac Winston, and special thanks goes to today's tech specialist Putnik Santiago. See, I'll get it right eventually. So until next time, commanders, fly safe, and if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Don't get murdered.
is your life like this?
Sounds like someone having an orange inserted or something. You need a safe word.
Space can be lonely.
I'm gonna see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Galnet News Digest, 28th of June 3308. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, commanders take matters into their own hands after the superpowers fail to act. And we recap the history of Thargoid interaction with humans.
The three superpowers have decided to continue supporting Salvation, despite the revelation that he is the Witch, and that Taurus Mining Ventures is formed of the research division of Azimuth Biochemicals. But a growing body of pilots have been taking matters into their own hands. The superpowers' decision is based on practicality and a lack of any viable alternatives. Having chosen to defund Aegis in the wake of allegations of mismanagement, they are now completely dependent on Salvation and his superweapon to provide an effective defence against Thargoids when the attack comes. All three superpowers have some form of anti-Xeno defence of their own, including the Alliance, which now has a defence pact with Sirius, but like Aegis, they have previously depended on independent pilots to do the majority of the fighting. Salvation's superweapon has been the only quick fix for Thargoid incursions, despite Salvation's apparent inability to use the weapon when it's most needed. It played no part in beating back the recent incursions in Novas, Sosong and Didio. Salvation is now apparently working on an improved version of the weapon that will end the war against the Thargoids. Operation Witch Hunt was established by Commanders Selene Stardragon and Psychit to take the moral high ground and to reject anti-Xeno protection from Salvation, a scientist who has been implicated in vivisection, mass murder and attempted genocide, and who arguably shaped the course of human-Thargoid interaction to ensure that it would be hostile from the start. Salvation relies on donations and support from the superpowers, but he also relies heavily on megaships owned and run by Taurus Mining Ventures, now renamed as Azimuth Biotech. By making life difficult for Azimuth Biotech, they reason, Salvation's influence may be severely reduced and his ability to deploy his superweapon may be partially curtailed. Co-founder Commander Psychit explained the operation's purpose.
Operation Witch Hunt consists of hundreds of commanders from all over the galaxy sharing a common goal: the demise of Azimuth Biotech and the rejection of everything Salvation has to offer. Our message is simple. Caleb Wycherley, you may think that you're our Salvation, but we can save ourselves.
Many hundreds of commanders are working to undermine Azimuth Biotech in the 5 systems where it has a presence. The imminent and as yet unexplained departure of the 4 Azimuth-run megaships to the HIP 22460 system, and the lack of any indication that the faction has a home system, means that it should become possible to eject Azimuth Biotech from the T-Tauri system, which has the asteroid base Hind Mine, and from Maya and Merope. Azimuth has a small presence in Korato, but following Operation Witch Hunt activity, they no longer control any resources, and their continued presence is being tolerated only to allow Operation Witch Hunt spies to infiltrate Mbuni by earning the system permit. Oni Mbuni, the permit-locked system next to Cornsar, where the first of the superweapons was constructed and disguised as basic medicines for transportation to Cornsar, is an impenetrable fortress with no other factions present, and with the one planetary base, Prospects Deep, firmly and immovably under Azimuth control. Operation Witch Hunt has been examining whether another faction could be encouraged to expand to Mbuni to make life difficult for the incumbents. Operation Witch Hunt is open to all commanders who wish to oppose Salvation's schemes.
Why does salvation matter? It's worth stepping back for a minute and reviewing the history of Thargoid conflicts. Discoveries made over the past 18 months have completely changed our understanding of our first encounters with Thargoids and our 2 wars against them. Engineer Ram Tar has recovered ancient texts recounting a war between the now extinct Guardians and the Thargoids, but humans first came across Thargoids less than 200 years ago. A geological survey team working in the Muscadark region PJ-P B6-1 system came across what we now call Thargoid barnacles and witnessed Thargoids harvesting the meta-alloys. The Azimuth Biochemicals megaship Adamastor was sent to collect an alien relic, possibly a Thargoid sensor. The ship was attacked by mercenaries, possibly belonging to the rival corporation Pharmasapien, but it was the alien relic that led to the loss of everyone on board the Adamastor. Logs recovered from a crashed ship in HIP 69200 claim that the alien artifact drove everyone on the megaship mad and caused its faster-than-light propulsion system to fail. It took almost 200 years for the ghost ship Adamastor to fly back on autopilot at sublight speed to the Chukchan system, where it was discovered in October 3306. The Adamastor's sister ship, the Hesperus, also vanished around the same time. In 3113, it had set out looking for more alien technology, like the artifact that had been loaded onto the by then missing Adamastor. Like the Adamastor, some of the crew were mercenaries, working for Pharmasapien. Almost everyone on board died in the gunfight, with just a small group of scientists able to escape on board the Anaconda Proteus. And the Proteus found what Azimuth had been looking for, a so far unique location in Trapezium Sector YU-X C1-2, the site of an ancient battle between Thargoids and Guardians, yielding Guardian crystals that could be used to create the superweapon that Azimuth had been planning. Unfortunately for Azimuth, the prototype weapon emitted a pulse of radiation that killed the entire research team, and like the Adamastor, the Hesperus and the discoveries made by the Proteus remained unknown to the rest of humanity until the Hesperus was rediscovered by the Scrivener clan Dredger in April 3307. During the long hiatus between the Adamastor and the Hesperus being lost and rediscovered, in 3125 the Thargoids attacked humanity in what became known as the First Thargoid War. Azimuth Biochemicals worked with the multi-superpower agency INRA to develop and deliver a biological weapon, the so-called mycoid virus. In a devastating attack conducted by naval hero John Jameson, a Thargoid hive ship with all those on board was wiped out, leading to the Thargoids vanishing in 3151, bringing the war to an abrupt halt. One of the masterminds behind the use of the mycoid virus, Dr. Caleb Wycherley of Azimuth, was sure that the Thargoids would attack again. When Azimuth was finally taken over by Pharma Sapien, he managed to keep the research division under his control and continued to operate them as a secret organisation dedicated to the eventual elimination of the Thargoids. The history of this organisation is shrouded in mystery, but evidence has been found that Azimuth managed to capture a Thargoid scout vessel, and quite recently, in 3303 and 3304, conducted experiments with the intention of getting humans to control this alien ship. Almost all of the test subjects died. While Azimuth was conducting these tests in secret, the Thargoids started returning to human space as a result of the human colonisation of the Pleiades. The superpowers set up Aegis as a successor to INRA, and it scored some early successes using its Eagle Eye network to anticipate Thargoid attacks and employing independent pilots kitted out with new anti-Xeno weapons developed by Aegis to drive the Thargoids back. But the superpowers' focus was drawn away from the Thargoids by terrorism and the threat of war between Federation and Empire, and lacking proper funding, Aegis was unable to continue delivering the necessary innovations. When the Galactic Summit ended early and without agreement in March 3307, the impoverished Aegis still had hopes that it might develop new anti-Xeno weaponry, but its megaship Alexandria, full of Guardian research materials, was sabotaged by Azimuth Biochemicals, who stole its cargo, because by that time the Adamastor, the Hesperus, and most importantly the Proteus, and the evidence of its superweapon had been rediscovered, and Dr. Wycherley, calling himself Salvation but also known as the Witch, needed that Guardian technology to build a system-scale version of the weapon. In order to test his weapon, Wycherley planted Guardian technology in the Cornsar system, a system that had previously been free of Thargoids. When the Thargoids attacked 2 days later, he seems to have been indifferent to the tens of thousands of human deaths he had indirectly caused. But he was able to demonstrate that his weapon worked, destroying many Thargoid spacecraft and chasing away the rest. He's since used the weapon in 3 systems in the Pleiades, but these versions of the weapon are stepping stones to the weapon of mass destruction that he says will end conflict between humans and Thargoids forever. Aegis has been disbanded, but 2 of its former leaders, research scientist Dr. Alba Tesreau and defence specialist Admiral Aidan Tanner, have since worked tirelessly to prove that Wycherley, also known as Salvation, has been using unethical techniques, has been killing hundreds of thousands of humans as collateral damage of his campaign against the Thargoids, and, far from driving the Thargoids back, has in fact been encouraging Thargoids to attack more frequently. Admiral Tanner has been court-martialed for his attempts to reveal Salvation's sordid past, and remains in prison awaiting sentencing. Despite the revelations of Salvation's dark past, the superpowers remain wedded to Salvation as their only way out of the Thargoid war, and they're willing to overlook his crimes. It is unclear what the future may hold. With the Azimuth Biotech megaships ordered to move to the former Azimuth Biochemical stronghold in HIP 22460, is Salvation preparing for a showdown? The Thargoids have not yet attacked any systems for some weeks now, and Salvation has not yet attempted to use his new larger superweapon. It seems at least possible that the truce may hold. Or perhaps Salvation will goad the Thargoids into unleashing new, more fearsome technology in retribution for his actions. We should find out very soon.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news so you don't have to.